that he had a concussion and he's still in protocol, but it's saying he's not going to play. It says he participated in practice on Thursday. On Friday, he did not participate. So I don't completely know the story. 105.3 The Fan here in Dallas was saying that he is not ready to play, and I'm thinking this concussion must have been really bad, or maybe he's taking a different approach to it, which I don't think he is, because this kid likes to get on the field. He likes to play. He wants to help his team. So to me, we're going to miss him a lot in the middle. And honestly, you look at DeMarcus Lawrence, who hasn't had a sack probably since David Evans been out. He's been able to get to the quarterback. He's been able to get some pressures, but he hasn't gotten a sack. And this week, we face Russell Wilson, who's been running for his life the past. He's been literally running for his life this whole season. So to me, it's not going to be any different. But if we're not fast enough, I don't know if we're necessarily quick enough to get to Russell Wilson. Tyrone Crawford, I don't know if he's fast enough. I think DeMarcus Lawrence may be able to. So we're going to probably need, I'm going to go back to the Madden days. We're going to need a spy on, if you remember that spy defense on Madden. But I think you're going to need someone to watch. Russell probably, Sean Lee would probably be a good name for that. Anthony Hitchens probably. So the defense to me has stepped up. I love this. I'm starting to really love this young secondary. We haven't seen Scandrick in a couple of weeks, and you honestly don't notice that he's not there. Jordan Lewis has been playing well. Not to mention Awuzie, which I don't know what we really had in him, but looks like we've got pretty decent corner. But talk about that young secondary, how you feel about them.
Yeah, they gave us a heart attack last week because Jordan Lewis on that 4th and 10 play almost gave up the football game against the Oakland Raiders, but the Cowboys were able to, on the wing of an index card and the prayer of a fumble out of the back of the end zone by Derek Carr, able to steal that football game. But this young secondary, they're talented and young. I mean, as you mentioned, Chidobe Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, Byron Jones, who's still young in his 3rd year out of UConn. This is a young secondary that's getting better week by week. And the fact that Rob Marinelli has been able to have this secondary in a position where they've played good enough to help this Dallas Cowboys football team play much better in the secondary. As you mentioned, Orlando Scandrick's been dealing with injury this season quite a bit and has not been able to be in the lineup as consistently as he's been in the past. This defense overall has put themselves in a position where they have to get after Russell Wilson on Sunday. This is a team in the Seattle Seahawks on the season who've given up 37 sacks on the year. That's 11th worst in the National Football League. You mentioned DeMarcus Lawrence, a guy who has 13.5 sacks on the season, which is 3rd in the NFL, but he hasn't had a sack since the game against Washington several weeks ago now. So they mentioned David Irving being a big piece to be able to get after the quarterback will not be there. So it's going to be incumbent on this secondary, not only the front four for this Dallas Cowboy football team to get pressure on Russell Wilson, but a guy in Russell Wilson who loves to get outside of the pocket, throw the football down the football field, especially to a guy in Doug Baldwin this year, a guy who has over 800 yards receiving for the Seattle Seahawks football team, and they will have a matchup problem on Sunday. Jimmy Graham, who has 9 touchdown catches on the season, which is 3rd in the National Football League, will be a matchup problem that the Dallas Cowboys secondary will need to deal with. So as you mentioned, the secondary will be tested with a guy in Doug Baldwin, who's a very good wide receiver. Jimmy Graham, who will have a matchup problem. The Dallas Cowboys will have a matchup problem against him, so it'll be interesting to see how they defense him on Sunday. Will you see Byron Jones? Will you see some Sean Lee? Will you see some Anthony Hitchens trying to cover a guy? And Jimmy Graham was a physical specimen at the tight end position to try and help out Russell Wilson. But the Dallas Cowboys have got to get after and start getting pressure, and it starts with that front four, and then relying on this young secondary, to be able to create turnovers, because that's the next level for this Dallas Cowboys secondary, is their ability to create turnovers, and they can have an opportunity to do that against a guy in Russell Wilson, who last week only completed 47% of his passes, and then 2 weeks before that had 3 interceptions against a very good Jacksonville Jaguar football team. So there's an opportunity for this Cowboy football team on Sunday to really create some pressure on Russell Wilson and hopefully force him into some turnovers. to get the ball back to this offensive side of the football that features, of course, Ezekiel Elliott coming back.
Right. And you mentioned Sean Lee. I'm a huge Sean Lee fan. I think when it's all said and done with Sean Lee, it's going to be, he was great, but he can never stay healthy, which is a true story, 100%. But when this guy's on the field, his play is just amazing. He makes the whole defense better. So I'm really looking for him to make some key plays this game, which I believe he's going to do. I just hope and pray that he doesn't get injured. Anthony Hitchens has been really good at that linebacker spot. Jalen Smith, I'm up and down on him. I don't know if he's been fully ready to play this year, but when he's been able to step in, it's kind of 50-50. Sometimes he's getting burnt. Sometimes he's getting juked in the hole when there's a tackle he should be making. So there's a lot riding on this game. Like we talked about in the NFC, we got Philly at number 1, which, like I said, that's going to be an amazing story depending on what goes on with them. Minnesota number 2. Those two teams look like they're going to be fighting for home field advantage. But you do have the Rams, you do have the Saints, then you have the Panthers. So 1 through 5, anything can happen between those teams, because Philly could lose their last 2 games. Minnesota could lose their last 2 games. The Rams can win out. The Saints can win out. Who knows what happened with the Panthers? So there's a lot going on right here. Atlanta 9-5, Lions 8-6, Seattle 8-6, and Dallas 8-6. So clearly Dallas has to win this game. They win the tiebreaker, or the Seahawks win the tiebreaker over us because of strength of victory. So this is a no-brainer. Cowboys got to win. They're going to win. I'm picking them to win. I don't know how it's going to go down at all, because trying to catch Russell Wilson is going to be a feat alone by itself. So I hope all of them is eating their Wheaties. I hope Jeff Heath, whatever he ate or drank or whatever he did before the Raiders game, we need him to do that again, because we're going to need him they're going to be chasing Russell Wilson all over the field. So it's going to be a good game. It is a home game for the Cowboys. That's not necessarily a benefit, because most of the time the Cowboys fans, some of them are silent than when they should be loud. But this is a big game. I think we're going to be excited and ready. Like I said, there's a lot of things that have to happen, but I'm picking the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm picking the Cowboys too, 27-23 on Sunday. I think the Dallas Cowboys will have enough offensively. I think they will control the clock, establish a dominant run game with Ezekiel Elliott, who I believe will be heavily featured in this game. I look for him to get between 25 and 30 touches in this football game and put the Seattle Seahawks on their heels, to where I think the Dallas Cowboys are at their best when they're dominating time of possession and having extended drives, and they will get that opportunity to have that again with a guy in Ezekiel Elliott. And I look for them to get some play action, hit some play action on Sunday, and hopefully get Des Bryant continue, who's played much better as of late. But I think the return of Ezekiel Elliott will do much more for the dynamics of this entire offense for the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm picking them to win 27-23 and potentially keep their slim playoff hopes alive at this point and move to 9-6, and with an opportunity to go to Philadelphia to potentially steal a wild card spot, depending on what happens in front of them over these next couple of weeks.
Definitely. And you look at what's riding on this game. Can the Cowboys step up to the occasion? Can they rise to the occasion? Excuse me. Shout out to K3000 in the chat room. Appreciate you for jumping in. But can they rise to the occasion? The pressure's on them. I think Zeke coming back is huge, like we've been talking about. And I really, truly think this team is going to rise to the occasion. I think they're going to get the win. I do think it's going to be close. But I'm really looking forward to this game. And the Cowboys, they're going to have to stick to the plan, which is time of possession, like you said, giving the ball to Zeke. That's what's worked. That's what's always seemed to work. And Zeke is hungry.
Yeah, Zeke is ready to eat.
Time.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right.
So let's go. Great game. Looking forward to it. All right, so next up, we're going to talk some MLB. We got some MLB news and notes. And everybody, you tune into the BS3 Sports Show. I'm your host, Ben BS3. We got Kevin Gray in studio. We got about 25 minutes left in the show. So if you are listening and you want to join in, you can join in on the show chat room. It's very interactive, very fun. There's always jokes in there. There's excitement. It's just come in. It's fun. So you can go on Spreaker.com, go on 2livestewsradio.com. Actually, that's the easiest access. You'll see the live show, BS3 Sports Show. You can jump in, join on the chat room, log in via your Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, or your email. So I'd love to get your thoughts and your comments on what we're talking about. So, Tampa Bay Rays have traded Ivan Longoria to the Giants. The Giants were in the hunt. I thought they were going to possibly get Giancarlo Stanton. Did not end up working out.
My Yankees got him.
Yankees. Good Lord. They must own a bank and a few thousand Brinks trucks, because they will back up the Brinks trucks in a minute and just let the money fall out. But he goes to the Giants. It was a trade. There was a lot of pieces in the trade. I believe it was Denard Jackson or Denard Taylor and some picks. But being from the Bay Area, I think the Giants normally every 2 or every 3 or 4 years they get on the playoff run. I think adding Longoria is a good piece. Does that put them over the hill to make them a contender? I think it makes them close, but I think that Stanton deal would have been huge for them. It would have been huge, but obviously that did not happen. Also, Yu Darvish, which I'm sure me and Kevin, we know who Yu Darvish is. I'm sure the world knows who he is after he got tagged in the World Series. But Yu Darvish has a lot of potential locations where he can go. The Dodgers, the Rangers, Yankees, which I know if they were able to somehow get Yu Darvish too, come on. Come on.
Come on, son.
Come on. So,
come on.
We'll see what happens. But I want to get your thoughts on where do you think Yu Darvish would go. There's a lot of potential spots. To me, it's a question mark on him, because is he going to completely change his mechanics so you're not able to tip his pitches? What is he going to do to make himself better than what he was last year? Which to me seems like a guy that's like stuck in the way he does things, and that's the way he does it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where a guy in Yu Darvish goes. Obviously, a guy who struggled in the World Series against the Houston Astros, but I mean, let's be honest, any pitcher will struggle against that powerful Houston Astros lineup that defeated my Yankees in 7 games in the American League Championship Series. But it'll be interesting. I mean, teams like the Rangers are still in play. The Dodgers, which would be an opportunity for him to return back to this baseball team who could use some good starting pitching. Yu Darvish is as badly as he pitched and as badly as he got tagged in that World Series. Will still have an opportunity to go back to a very good baseball team that is still one of the most talented teams in Major League Baseball. So I think for him potentially staying there and being in a lineup that features obviously Clayton Kershaw, probably the league's best pitcher, a guy in Rich Hill, Alex Wood, and others, will give him an opportunity to stay in a very strong rotation where he doesn't have to be the number one guy somewhere, because he's not necessarily a number one anymore. A guy at 31 years old and is now on the backside of 30, doesn't need to be a number one in a rotation these days. So if he can find himself as a solid 2 or 3 starter in a rotation, which he would definitely be in a team like Los Angeles, or even a team in the Chicago Cubs who are dealing with their own free agents and guys like Jake Arrieta and John Lackey, he could find himself in a rotation where a Chicago Cubs team is looking to bounce back after winning the World Series a couple of seasons ago now. So there's opportunities for Yu Darvish that are still out there for him, but his days as a number one obviously are not there anymore. But he could be or his days as the number one starter potential are not there anymore, but has an opportunity to be a